You know what gives me a tingly sensation down below when I watch anime? Lollies.
Huh?
And you know what ruffles my feathers even more than that? Incest.
Is this nigga serious?
Oh. There's nothing better than a good anime that shows a great dosage of lolly and incest.
You weird, buddy. You're weird.
But in all seriousness, there's nothing that turns me off more in anime than lollies and incest, other than stuff like dying pets or dying kids. But anyways, lollies and incest, two of the most insufferable things you can come across while watching anime. On one hand, you have the sexualization of what seems to be young girls, but technically aren't young girls because of some stipulation the show puts in place so that it doesn't seem creepy. Ew. But on the other hand, you have incest, when the brother-sister love goes beyond what any sibling relationship should be. Also ew. Which brings me to my biggest problem with the show Tsugumomo, which seems to love the idea of lollies and incest. But before all that, let me give you a synopsis of the show. Tsugumomo is a show based around Tsugumogamis, which is an object that has gained a soul, becoming alive and self-aware. There are two types of Tsugumogamis: the mature Tsugumomo, who have developed through long years of harmony with their owners, and the aberrant Amasagi, premature spirits that are only born to grant the destructive wishes of certain people. Kazuyu Kagami has never gone without his mother's obi after his death, be it at home or school. He keeps it safe with him at all times. One day he nearly loses his life when a wig Amasagi attacks him. When all seems to be over, his treasured obi defends him, transforming into a beautiful girl. She introduces herself as Kiriha, the Tsugumomo owned by Kazuyu's mother. With Kiriha's arrival, Kazuya enters a reality he has never seen before, a world with gods and Tsugumogamis. By the way, I got all of that from my anime list. Shout out to them. Anyways, Tsugumomo is a very forgettable anime. Not that it's terrible, it's just so average that it's forgettable. Average fight scenes, average characters, average story. Everything about this anime is just average, which is why they had to add something to spice it up. And a certain thing to spice it up just so happens to be lollies and incest. Throughout the entire first season, the obsession with lollies and some of the main cast and the implication of incest between the protagonist and his sister was always hinted at but never explored until two certain episodes. And the two certain episodes are Episode 7, Kaneyame-san, and Episode 8, A Certain Day in the Kagame Household / the super popular fragrance. Now let me explain the premise behind Episode 7. Kutiri, a local god, has no shrine to live at nor any money to build one, so her only option is to stay with Kagami and Kiriha. Kiriha, not liking this at all, forces Kutiri to ask another local god, Kaneyame-san, for a loan. So, Kutiri, Kagami, and Kiriha decide to go together to meet Kaneyame-san. When asking Kaneyame-san for a loan, she asks for one thing from the group, and that is that they play a game of concentration against her. And if you don't know what concentration is, let me explain it to you briefly. Concentration is a card game in which all of the cards are laid face down on the surface and the two cards are flipped face up over each turn. The object of the game is to turn over pairs of matching cards. So you've probably played this game before, you just didn't know it was named concentration. But there's a couple of twists in this game of concentration. Under each card is a certain amount of money, and if the group is able to match both cards, that'll be the amount Kaneyame-san will pay them. However, throughout the game, the group slowly realizes that there are a list of actions that are also placed under the cards. And the person who's able to match those cards are able to direct these actions towards the other team. And oh boy, these actions are borderline hentai levels of sexualization. And I honestly wouldn't even have a problem with it if Kutiri and Kiriha weren't lollies. And the fact that Kaneyame-san damn near admits to having a fetish for little girls, as she puts it. And by now I'm pretty sure you'll be able to tell the way this whole situation is headed. Throughout the rest of the episode, these characters are subjugated to do very sexual things, all the way from things such as neck and toe licking to wearing a literal catsuit. There's even a scene where Kiriha asks Kaneyame-san to go to the bathroom with her to allow Kutiri and Kagami to come up with a plan to beat her, and the show even depicts what Kaneyame-san's sick and perverted thoughts of what would happen between her and Kiriha if they were allowed in the same bathroom. Now I know that Kaneyame-san is technically a god, but she is depicted to be someone who's older than all three of the other characters. which makes it definitely not okay for her to be attracted to little girls nor doing sexual things with them. Now, this could technically be considered okay in some people's eyes because they aren't technically kids. One is a god and one is a spirit. Now, I can understand how that can be excused. But what can't be excused is what happens in the literal next episode. The next episode is divided into two segments, both filler as usual in anime, but I want to focus on the second segment. The first is irrelevant. The segment starts off with Kazuya in the tub surrounded by multiple women, including the two lollies I mentioned before in the last episode. The other women he's also surrounded by are already established in the anime as important characters, as well as his own sister. And not his stepsister like Pornhub be doing, his own sister. And I would say that I was surprised when I first saw this, but I can't for the life of me say that I was. And the reason being is because throughout the whole entire first half of the season, this outcome was always something that was hinted at. The sister throughout the entire series always seems to have this romantic obsession with her brother. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me give an explanation of the episode as well as the excuse as to why this was a thing. One of Kazuya's friends from school, Shiru, decides to buy a cologne that allows him to attract all women. The catch is that this cologne just so happens to be an Amasagi, an evil spirit. Shiru, not knowing this, and to be honest, not really caring, sprays some of it on his body, allowing him to have his own sort of harm throughout the school. The rest of the guys throughout the classroom, jealous and upset of the newfound power Shiru has, decides to take the cologne for themselves, no matter if it means harming him or not. Realizing Shiru's in danger, Kazuya decides to help him out in escaping from them. Once they are finally able to get away from the dangerously horny guys, Kazuya convinces Shiru that the cologne isn't good for him or his peers and tells him to destroy it. Shiru, through teary eyes, attempts to destroy it by throwing it, only for it to bounce off the ground and spill all over Kazuya. For the second time today, I think by now you're able to tell how this is going to go down. Kazuya then proceeds to run away from a mob full of women, hoping to get home. He's finally able to get home, but is concerned about the way that the cologne might have an effect on his sister, but to his surprise, it didn't affect her at all. Kazuya, relieved, decides to take a bath to cool off his head. Mid-bath, he's interrupted by his sister for her to walk in the bathroom, butt-ass naked.
What the fuck?
Now, I know what some people are saying. Oh, she's being affected by the... No!
No!
I don't care how or what is affecting her. This is not okay. They even have a scene where... You know what? I'm not even going to tell you. Just watch it for yourself. You see what I mean? And apparently there's a new season and stuff happens that is way worse. Way worse. But to be honest, I don't see how that's possible because I think incest is probably the worst thing that can happen. With that being said, the show wasn't terrible nor good. If you want to watch it, you can. I'd say it's pretty average. Strong forward to a light 5. Transition. Did you give this show a watch? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best. You're the best. What should I talk about next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video you could check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Average, Tsugumomo, forever.